Hello and welcome to Modern Trad Archer with me, Phil. And in this video, I'm going to be unboxing a new bow that I bought from AMEYXGS, okay, which is basically a bit of a Scrabble dump for a Chinese supplier of archery equipment. So this has already been opened, as you can see. As with anything from AliExpress, you never know what you're going to get inside. It might open it and it be I don't know, a DIY build your own Rubik's Cube set or something. So I just wanted to make sure everything was in there, and then I can just simply unbox it in front of you. So let's get straight into it. Let's pull out, which is the riser first. Now this bow is a little bit different to a conventional bow in that the limbs are belly mounted, okay? So the limbs aren't mounted to the front of the riser like they are in most bows. The limbs on this bow are actually mounted on the belly side. So in the kit, you get the riser, 2 limbs, you get a string, which I didn't know that you got. I don't know if that's in the description, maybe I missed it. You get an Allen key for bolting on the limbs, and you also get what appears to be some kind of hair rest, maybe a calf hair rest or something like that. But instead of having 2 pieces, it's just one square that you cut out to your own liking, which I can kind of understand. So first of all, let's take the riser out and have a look and see what we've got. So this is my first impressions of it. Now this bow is also sold under different brand names, okay? In the US, you've got Hitman Archery, Stealth Hunter, this is called, and you've also got Twig Archery's Spitfire. So those are 2 American resellers of basically the same bow. The exception is for Hitman Archery and Twig Archery, they have this black engineered wood of some kind, maybe diamond wood, on both sides, whereas the AMEYXGS, which I actually prefer the look of, is black on the front side. You have what looks like bamboo running down the center, and then you have this olive green diamond wood, which I think is really nice, really kind of, I don't know, it speaks to me a little bit more. I love olive green, it's one of my favorite colors. So first impressions, it seems to be nicely made. There doesn't appear to be a finish on this. Whereas in the images, it looked like a kind of a satin finish. This looks to me like it may have no finish at all, or maybe it's a really thin finish that soaks in. I don't know if that can even soak into this kind of diamond wood or engineered wood. But whatever the case, it's extremely matte. I mean, I've got very bright lights. It probably shines a little bit, but finish on it seems okay. Pretty decent for the price, and I'll mention the price in just a second. Overall impression is it's actually very nice. Now, the main benefit of a belly mounted riser with the limbs which go in here instead of on the front is the fact that you get a lot more deflex in the riser. Now, deflex can improve the way the bow shoots. So instead of having to have weight forward, for example, a stabilizer or bare bow weight or something like that, you can get around or reduce bow hand torque by having more deflex in it, okay? So that's the main benefit behind it. Your hand is further forward. You do tend to give up a little bit of your draw length because of it. So you tend to have a slightly higher brace height than normal. So you lose a few feet per second in speed, but you gain shootability and just manners of the bow. That's the theory behind it. I've always wanted to get myself a Black Widow bow. I really like them. I like the idea behind it. I think they kind of look funky. They're not the most beautiful thing in the world. It's kind of like a pug. You love it because it's kind of ugly cute, if you know what I mean. It kind of has that effect on belly mounted bows, or limb mounted on the belly side of a riser. So let's take a look at what this bow looks like with the limbs on. So let's take a look at the limbs first of all. So I'm going to move this up. I'm going to keep the limbs on here. I don't want it to scratch on the surface just in case there's an issue with the riser or something. Okay, so these are limbs, and to be honest with you, it kind of reminds me of the Black Hunter. And taking a look, yeah, they do say in the blurb, in the information, that these limbs are black fiberglass and bamboo. And having a look at the ends here, you can actually see the typical end grain of bamboo. So that would be correct. And then you kind of see those little nodes that you get on the bamboo. If you look out for them, you can see another one there. So yeah, okay, so very much like the Black Hunter. Now I have a version of the Black Hunter. It's kind of a fancy Black Hunter. This one's made by Top Archery. So I'm kind of comparing this. Okay, so this is the Top Archery 60-inch recurve, a bow that I really enjoy shooting. It looks kind of nice. Again, a well-priced bow, kind of a budget bow, but it shoots very, very well, and it looks a little bit nicer than the Black Hunter, I find. That's £45 at 28, and this is £45 at 28. So we can kind of do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison between the two. I'm not sure, I didn't know that it came with a string, so I'm not sure what string it is. It's obviously a Flemish twist of some kind, and it, from outward appearances, looks pretty decent. So I'm going to undo these now and attach the limb. Now this is slightly different to Hitman Archery and Twig Archery's version, because on their version, there's actually a cutout of this piece here. You don't actually get that step up, if I remember correctly. And on this one, oops, wrong way around. If I put that in there, you can see that it's kind of level with the limb. So that's interesting. I actually prefer this look, to be honest with you. A little bit of roughness there on the threads, but that will break in. Okay, so it has an indexing pin there. Again, still doing it. And where the washer, this conical washer, actually indexes against the limb, appears to be, just to remove that, maybe Delrin or some kind of hard plastic to, I guess, protect the limb. That's not going in there, so let's use this. Again, slightly rough on the threads there. Only on one revolution, though, seems to have eased up after I've put this in. That happens sometimes. And I like to, on these, just on the short end, go pretty tight on the short end. I never use full pressure on the long end of the Allen key. Okay, so there we go. That is the bow with the limbs mounted. So first impressions here, I'm going to be honest with you, not good. That's a shame. That's a real shame. First issue is on the bottom limb here. We are about a full millimeter over by the looks of it. Slightly more on the bottom, slightly less on the top. And feeling on here, we have about 3/4 of a millimeter sticking out of the riser here and not on here. So I don't know if the limbs are going to be twisted. So I'm going to place it on the floor now and just kind of look along the limb tips in the center of the riser and see if they line up. And I guess two wrongs do make a right. That is about as in line as you can possibly get a riser. That's actually very good. However, I don't like the fact that we have this lip along here. I don't know how I feel about that. So what I'm going to do is string this bow up, and then we're going to take a look along the string side and see if it's in line, and then give it a few shots, and I'll give you my impressions. So far so good. I like it, but I don't know if this is going to be a deal breaker for me. Okay, so I have gone ahead and just put on a little bit of leather on here. I'm not going to put on the supplied calf hair rest. If I want to send this back, I'm going to send everything back intact. So I've done that. I've also put a little knock set on here, just 1/2 inch high, kind of standard. I'm not tuning anything. I just want to see how it compares to the Black Hunter or the Top Archery version. And taking a look at the brace height on here, I haven't adjusted anything. We are right at 8 1/4 inches. And I know I have the fancy Black Hunter set at 8 inches. So they're pretty much the same brace height, interestingly enough. And if I put it string to string, is pretty much, the throat of the grip is pretty much the same in line. There's not a lot of difference between it if I move my eye across, but you can definitely see the difference in where the limbs start, and also the preload on the limbs is a lot higher on the Black Hunter versus whatever this is called. It doesn't actually have a name. I think it's just supplied as the AMEYXGS Recurve, interestingly enough. I mean, if they can't be bothered to name their brand particularly well, you can't really expect them to have a name for the bow. So 45 pounds, let's see what this shoots like. And it's probably going to be noisier than average because there's no string silencers or limb silencers on there at all. Okay. Just going to reserve judgment until I get this third shot in there. Shot cycle feels a little bit more abrupt on the shot. It's the only way I can describe it. It feels okay. It feels okay. It's an unfamiliar bow to me, so the group at 10 yards is, well, they're not exactly touching, put it that way. So let's shoot a few from this and see what the difference is like. So same draw weight, same arrows. Obviously a little quieter because I've made the efforts to silence the string on this one. Little glitch there. I'm going to take a few more shots of each, and then I'm going to kind of give you my proper verdict here. Okay, so final verdict on the AMEYXGS Recurve bow. Compared to the Black Hunter, I will say for a starter, this is a 62-inch bow, whereas the Black Hunter is a 60-inch bow. So bear that in mind with some of these specs. But I wrote down some notes here. Now I kept doing, 3 shots of the Black Hunter, 3 shots of this, 3 shots of the Black Hunter, and keep going. And I found I wasn't getting much luck with this bow. So what I did was shot about 50 or 60 arrows with this by itself without the interruption of the Black Hunter, and the group settled down a lot. It just needed me to get used to it without going back and forth between this and a different shooting bow, which shoots a little bit differently. Here's some things that I found. Number one, much smoother draw, okay? Especially after doing 60 shots on this, going back to the Black Hunter felt a lot more stacky. And this feels so smooth, I actually thought that it was going to be way under the poundage that it was spec'd at, which is 45 at 28. So I was thinking this has got to be a 40-pound bow. There's no way this is 45. I measured both of them with my scales, and at my draw length, which is 30 inches, the Black Hunter is pulling an average of 47 pounds, and this is pulling an average of 48 pounds. And I tell you now, this does not feel like 48 pound at my, on the fingers. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like 42, 43. It's very strange. The draw cycle just feels a lot smoother. It doesn't feel like it builds and stacks like the Black Hunter does. Again, it's a reasonably long draw, on a 60-inch bow that's not ideally spec to me. My preference is always 62 to 64-inch bows for a hunting bow, 3D archery, that kind of thing. So I couldn't feel any stack. It feels smooth all the way back to 30 inches. Accuracy-wise, it was about the same, but bear in mind, I've had that for a couple of years and I've shot the hell out of it, so it's a familiar platform for me. What this is equaling it accuracy-wise after I got my first dozen shots in. I got a feel for the bow and started to settle in, and it was matching. So I'd say this could probably be a bow that I could be more accurate with. It's obviously not a more accurate bow. No bow is more accurate than the other. It's whether or not it allows you to shoot your best. I reckon this, if I had a couple of years of experience with it, would probably be shooting better than the Black Hunter. Weight-wise, I haven't weighed them. You can see the specs for yourself. They feel about the same in my hand. There might be a few grams or ounces difference, but they feel about around the same. Maybe this is a little bit heavier. I mean, I'm only saying that because there's more riser material, so naturally you would think that. But they feel the same. So, is this a clone? Is this a clone? Because when everyone sees this, the first thing they think of is Black Widow. And I can't remember who did a video on this on YouTube. There's not much information on this, whoever makes this bow. But it was called the Black Hunter clone. Now, I did my research, and maybe you can tell me in the comments below. I don't know of any Black Hunter that has any look like this at all. The Black Hunter comes out a lot more at the top. There's a lot more meat at the top and the bottom, which is probably better for accuracy and reducing torque. But I don't know of any other bow that looks like this. I don't see this as a copy of any other bow that I've ever seen. Maybe there's a vintage model or some other brand came out with this style of bow, but it's very difficult to make a belly-mounted bow not make people think of Black Widow, because they've kind of cornered that look, if you know what I mean. They've cornered the market on there. They're the most famous brand that produces belly-mounted limb systems. So, you know, naturally people go, oh, it's a bit of a takeoff, but no more than the Black Hunter is a takeoff of, I don't know, name any other bow out there. They all look kind of similar. It's very difficult to make this, you know, very different from a Black Widow, but I think they've done a really good job. Would I like a bit more meat out here? Yes, I would. I don't know how much purchase that bolt has on the inside there and how much strength this have, because it's heavily scalloped out on multiple sides. But it's a very good looking bow. I've seen this up to 60 pounds. You can buy this in 60 pounds. I prefer the 45-pound range. By the time I'm pulling it to 30, it's kind of creeping closer to 50. That's my preferred weight. Allows me to shoot a lot more than bows in the 50+ pound range. So yeah, quality-wise, I'd probably give the nod. I don't own an actual Black Hunter, but the top archery version of the Black Hunter, which I believe is exactly the same. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, it looks exactly the same. I think that has a slight better quality feel to it with the brass washers or bushings on the limb mounting system. That is using maple in the limbs. This is using bamboo. I can't tell which is faster, but I would have thought this would have the edge just by the way it shoots. And also it's pulling 48 with a similar brace height. But with a similar brace height, are you really benefiting from that grip forward design? Interesting. Share your thoughts in the comments below. This is my first foray into a limb mounted system. I kind of wanted to see whether I liked it or not. So in the future, if I go, you know, ahead and get a Black Widow bow, it's a custom made bow. It has to come from the United States. Obviously, I'm going to be absolutely, you know, caned over import taxes and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that I get on with the system. And I have to say, I do. This is a better shooting bow. Quality nod perhaps goes to the Top Archery Recurve. Fit and finish, I would say, is average for a bow of this price. I mean, the limbs are offset. There is quite a bit of riser sticking out on this side, which means, unfortunately, I have decided to send this back. this will be going back to AMEYXGS. I bought it on AliExpress. Great thing is, and I've done this before with the top point slither riser. I bought that in 21 inches, and the riser had a good amount of twist in it, which I didn't like. So I sent it back. You get a refund on your delivery fees as well. And Royal Mail actually comes to your house and picks up the bow for you. So it's actually an easy system. So it gives me a bit more confidence buying these. If you bought this from one of the American sellers, I think there is one in Europe actually that sells. I think it's Hitman Archery. I could be wrong. There is one in Europe, but there is 2 in the United States. I would probably buy from them. It's a little bit more money, but you know, I think they're going to stand by their product a little bit better and make sure that they check everything. I did message AMEYXGS, no, not them. It was, the seller was actually, the supplier is AMEYXGS, the maker, unknown, and the store that I bought it on AliExpress was Shore Wolf Archery. And I messaged them saying, please check this, because I intend on doing a review. Please check this for quality and fit and finish before sending. And I also had said to them, can you make sure the tiller is even? Because most bows should be, really. Is it even? I'd say most bows should be. There are some that are designed out of it. I'm going to do it in millimeters. Sorry, guys, metric all the way. 143 at the top, 142 at the bottom. So 1 millimeter difference. So a 1 millimeter positive tiller. Yeah, so would I recommend this to a beginner? Yes, but I would probably go through one of the American vendors to get a better quality bow. However, I have to say I much prefer the look of this riser with that, I don't know if you can even see it, but that is a beautiful olive green diamond wood. And with the maple limbs, I think the others may come with bamboo limbs. Sorry, the others come with maple limbs, I believe. I could be wrong, just double check that, but these come with bamboo. So the look of the riser, the bamboo limbs, I prefer this. I'm going to send this back. I don't know if I'm going to ask for a replacement or just get my money back and be done with it and know that I like this kind of system. So that's my review on it. Hopefully that's helped you make a decision on this, whether or not you want to get this bow. Do I think it's a better bow overall than the Black Hunter? Yes, I do. I think it shoots better, stacks a lot less, the draw is a lot smoother, and I think with a little bit more time, I could get a little bit more accurate with this as well. Great hunting riser, great for the woods. Not exactly flyweight, but easy to carry around and take down, which I like. So thank you very much for joining me here today. Don't forget to leave a like below, and if you're interested in watching more of these videos, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.